Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Godfather Chronicles podcast. My name is Miguel Garcia, and I am your host. Today, we're going to talk about the benefits of silence and of being quiet. But before we get into it, promise me that if you find value, you are going to share this podcast with your friends, with your family, and you're going to give me a rating. I would appreciate that very much. I think I'm giving you enough value for you to give it back. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at MAG Patriot. Facebook, Miguel Godfather. If you have questions or that you want me to address privately or in the podcast, email me at miguel@godfatherchronicles.com. So today we're going to talk about an interesting topic. It's something that not many people do, something that people really struggle with, but it's very simple to do. And I'm going to start with a story. So today I woke up and I was like overwhelmed. Thinking about how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that, how am I going to pay these bills, I have this thing coming up, just a lot of worries in my mind. And I try to do my gratitude exercise, and all these thoughts are bombarding me, and I'm fighting it. I'm laying in bed and I'm thanking God for my family, for my business, for my health, for my children, for everything. But at the same time, there's this worry, some thoughts are coming in. And so, I got off bed and I'm continuing with this loom and gloom. And I know I'm feeling it and I'm trying to snap out of it. And it's just really hard. I'm pretty sure this happens to a lot of you guys. So what I did, I just tried to get busy and help my wife dress the twins and get them off to school. And I usually go to mass at 7:15 in the morning. So I leave my house around 6:50 or something like that, and I like to get to church early and just sit there. So today I'm like, I'm not going to go to mass because I don't feel like going, because I got a lot of work to do, and I could go to work an hour earlier and get more stuff done. But then I caught myself, and the conversation that I have with myself goes something like this. It's like, well, I got all this work to do, and if I get there an hour earlier, it's going to be awesome. I'll get things done quicker and all that stuff. And then the other side of me goes, yeah, but if you go to church and you visit God, you are visiting the most powerful, source in the world, in the universe. You're visiting a very important, quote unquote, person that could help you with whatever you have. God could change my life instantly, by a miracle or whatever. So I'm having this argument with myself. Then I'm going, well, maybe I should call somebody. In my circle, call somebody and talk about the issues that I have. And then I started going through my mind, and I'm like, well, I can't call this guy because he's always busy. I can't call this other guy because he never really returns the calls or anything like that. And I started going down the line, and I realized that, people are busy, man. They don't care too much about other people. They're so busy. Their life is so full of things, and their life is noisy, social media, all kinds of stuff. They're real busy. They don't have time for me. And then I realized that, well, God has time for me. God is waiting for me. And I could go to church and have that conversation with him. So I drove to church, and I usually bring a missal. A missal is because we attend the old traditional Latin Mass, and so we need a missal to follow the Mass. And it has the Latin version and the translated version. I still read my missal in the Spanish version because I want to keep up with my Spanish, right? Anyway, so I'm driving to church and I'm like, I really don't want to go, but yeah, I want to go, and I'm having this struggle. And then I go, okay, I'm just going to go. But I'm not going to bring in my missal. I'm going to sit there in quiet, and I'm going to let God speak to me. And so, I came to church, knelt down for a little bit, said a few prayers. Then I just sat down and Mass started. And I try to empty my mind and really look at God and what God is in my life and what God has done with me and my family. So I guess I started getting in a gratitude mood or mode. And then I just stopped thinking about things. And all of a sudden, I kid you not, not all the answers, but answers started flowing into my head. Like, okay, you need to do, for this thing, you need to do this. And I'm going, wow, this is amazing. And then, what about this problem? And then, boom, I got the solution too. And then again, well, how do you want to execute this? And then the steps on how to execute. Honestly, it's been a long time since I've been in this type of scenario. But all of a sudden, I realized that God was talking to me. And He was talking to me because I was quiet. I wasn't reading my missal. I wasn't trying to keep up with Mass. I just had a one-on-one with God. He was looking at me and I was looking at Him. And we had this mental conversation. And I started getting this warm feeling of joy and peace. And it was very beautiful. It was very, very beautiful. You get overwhelmed by this happiness, like, wow. All it took for me to get the answers of my problems was just to be in the quiet and think about God and His goodness. And so this is what I want to talk to you about. It's a crazy world. There's distractions everywhere. Social media, music. People are working out and they have the headphones on. They're riding a bike, they have headphones on. They're walking, they have headphones on. There's music, there's podcasts, there's all sorts of things going, and we don't let our mind rest. There's distractions everywhere, but we could take steps to minimize those distractions and quiet our thoughts. Even in the midst of a real busy, stressful life, we need to take some breaks in our day and make space for listening to the most important voice of all the voices, which is the voice of God. Because God is in the quiet. When I said God is in the quiet, God doesn't talk to us when we're agitated, when we are stressed. Because we don't listen. It's like we have a rock concert going in our minds and somebody's trying to talk to us. They're going to be yelling at us or whatever. And we probably won't hear everything they say. So we need to be in the quiet because that's when God whispers in our ear. There's a lot of proof out there that when we're quiet, when our minds are quiet, we could solve problems. We could do all sorts of things. And again, we live in a loud and distracting world where silence and peace are difficult to come by. But again, it's an investment for our well-being. We need to make time for quiet time. Just as too much noise can cause stress and tension, research has found that silence has the opposite effect. It releases tension in the brain and the body. It helps you rest. It helps you sleep. It helps you relax. There's a quote by Herman Melville, and it says, all profound things and emotions of things are preceded and attended by silence. All profound things and emotions of things are preceded and attended by silence. When the brain is idle and disengaged from external influences and noises and all the stuff that goes on, we can tap into our inner stream of thoughts, emotions, memories, and ideas, because there's no distractions. When we could tap into our thoughts and emotions and memories and ideas, we tend to really connect with ourselves, with our inner thoughts, and we could analyze situations, we could empathize with others, we could be more creative and reflect on our own mental and emotional states. It's just that when we're quiet, we could think, we can feel, we are connected with our souls. There's folks out there, they exercise their body. Well, I do too, but not as much as some people do. But they spend an hour in the gym or 2 hours, whatever it is, doing physical work, and they think they're healthy, but they don't exercise their mind. The way you exercise your mind is by meditating in the quiet, by being in silence. So basically, you need to take a break during the day, a few minutes, and sit in a quiet place and just breathe and think about nothing. God is in the quiet. How much time do you spend alone in the quiet? The reason why sometimes we don't make good decisions, or we feel that we don't have clear direction, we're confused, we're agitated or whatever, is because we're not listening to God. We're always busy. There's a lot of noise in our minds. And again, God is in the quiet. God is in the peace, in the tranquility, in the stillness. I'm going to give you some practical advice. Okay, so how do you meditate? So they said that meditating is sort of repeating the same thoughts over and over and over in your head. Is the same as worrying. When you're worried about stuff, it's like meditating, but in the wrong things. Because you're always thinking about the problems over and over and over and over and over. And they get ingrained in your mind because that's the thing that you're thinking about. So meditating is easy. You just got to think about positive things. You can meditate in the goodness of God. You could meditate on your blessings. Look at what God has given you. What blessings do you have? You have a family, you have a roof over your head, you have your wife, whatever, your spouse. You could also meditate on the gifts that God has given you. What are you good at? There's a lot of things you could meditate about. And again, focus on meditating is not complicated. Again, it's like worrying, but in a positive way. So turn off all the your phones, your music, your headphones, and all sorts of things, and get in a quiet mode. If you're in a busy office, go out for a walk if you want to, but don't put any headphones on or anything. Just think about something. But think about positive things. Think about God. I think that meditating is not difficult. Again, you have to just focus on positive things, and you have to not have any outside stimuli. You got to be in peace. You got to be quiet. You got to be still. There's a lot of benefits when you meditate, when you have quiet time. It increases focus and attention. An uninterrupted time all on its own provides the ideal environment for us to focus on things. Once you're done sort of meditating on God or whatever, you could now turn your mind into a problem that you might have. And you are in a state of clarity when you're in the quiet. And so for you to solve whatever issue you might have, it's going to be a lot easier because you have increased your focus and attention. Okay, so quiet also resets our mind. It gives us a chance to think about things thoroughly. And it also, when you think about things thoroughly, you avoid getting overwhelmed because you're working out every single step and you're sorting it out. It also resets your mind. It gives you a chance to think, again, things through. And it's a great, what is the word I'm trying to use here? It's a great way to solve problems. Because, again, you're in the quiet, your mind is sharp, your mind is alert, and you could think better. Also, being in the quiet enhances mindfulness. The quiet time allows us the chance to sit in quiet with our own thoughts and feelings. And quieting our mind has been shown to help regulate emotions and self-control. Because you're thinking things through. You're not acting out of raw emotion. It also builds confidence. Quiet time allows us to figure things out without disruptions, and it builds confidence because we're figuring things out. Now we're trusting ourselves. We're developing a thought process. We are developing a process in which we're solving problems. So I think that being in the quiet, taking time to be quiet is very, very, very important. It's good for your mind. It's good for your soul. It increases creativity. Having uninterrupted time allows our mind to explore, to dream, to visualize. It allows us to get into a full creative mode. Remember Andy Frisella talking about the way he visualizes things. And there's a lot of folks out there, they talk about this is I visualize. And a lot of people, they have music because they go, well, the music relaxes me and then I can visualize. Well, try it without music. Try it in the quiet and see what that does. It might work better. I just think that as a good practice, we need to start getting rid of a lot of the noises, the external noise, the excessive notifications on the phone, the distractions. All those things take away from our peace. And again, my friends, you have to remember this. You will find peace and tranquility in the quiet, and that's where God is. So you're seeking for God. If you're seeking for an answer, then find quiet time, and you shall find Him. It's, again, going back to my story of this morning, it was overwhelming for me. The fact that I could get all my answers, and also get the answers and the steps on how I was going to execute this thing. It's amazing. So it works. I mean, the church teaches that silence is good. I haven't been in a retreat in a long, long time, but they're called Ignatian Retreats. And they're called Ignatian Retreats because Saint Ignatius of Loyola, the saint that founded the Jesuits, created the spiritual exercises. And these are, it used to be 30 days of silence. And, basically you went to conferences and then you meditated on things, and you couldn't speak to other people. It was just, you were quiet all 30 days. In the modern times, they reduced it to, I think it's 5 or 6 days. And it's amazing when you are quiet for like a day, you can't talk to people, and you're thinking about God and you're thinking about all sorts of things. You don't have your phones, you don't have any distractions or anything like that. It's amazing how your mind gets so clear. When I went to my first retreat, I realized that I had to move out of Chicago, because I had the opportunity to look at my life, at the state of my soul, and the state of my life, and the dangers that I was in the midst of. The dangers for my soul, for my family, and for everything else. And so I was able to make the decision on that retreat that I was going to move out of Chicago. That was back in 1992. And I moved out of Chicago in 95. So it took me, like 2.5 years to get all my stuff sorted out and moved out. So big decision, big life decision, but it's the best life decision that I've made for me and for my family. So my friends, don't discount the quiet time. Seek it. If you have any problems, any issues, go and take a break. Be in the quiet, because that's where God could speak to you. Actually, that's where God whispers to you. Guys, I hope you got some value out of this podcast. And promise me that if you got value, please share it with your family and friends. And if you want to connect with me, I'm in Instagram at MAG Patriot, Facebook Miguel Patriot, And if you have questions that I could address on the website, on the podcast or privately, I'm available. Email me at miguel@godfatherchronicles.com. Well, thank you very much. God bless, and try to go and practice silence and quiet meditation. All right, take care. God bless. Bye.